All right, all right. You are tuned into Heart Connections with your heart coach, Adelai Brown, right here on your community station with international inspiration, kinetichifi.com. It's 1:32, and it is time for Heart Talk. This segment of the show is our talk portion of the show where we renew our minds and restore our hearts. This portion is brought to you by my new book, Help Save Me from My Broken Heart, Your Journey to Living and Loving Again. And you can pre-order your copy of Help Save Me from My Broken Heart at theheartconnections.com. I want you to pre-order your copy because if you have benefited from any of the heart talks we have, you want to pre-order this book. This book is definitely going to help you as you overcome some of the issues, the weeds in life that have hindered your heart from being able to operate at its complete function. And I don't mean your physical heart. I mean your spiritual, your soul, your divine heart, what makes you you and drives your life. You need to think about that. So pre-order your copy, theheartconnections.com. So today we've talked about predicaments, dilemmas, and conflicts. We've talked about how in life, just we were coming from Matthew chapter 13. We talked about how we will have situations in life that we just have to deal with. As you're growing, there's and things brewing, but you can keep going. You can keep pushing yourself. I want to encourage you because the last segment, we came from Matthew chapter 13, but then we looked at it from a different perspective. We looked at it from the fact that what about when you're dealing with the weeds, but now you're being misunderstood. You've come up with a way to deal with the troubles and the trials in your life and use them to work out for your good. Now you're in a space where people around you aren't accepting you. Mostly they're not supporting you. And I know how this feels. When I read that passage, Matthew chapter 13, verses 53 through 58, I think it was, and it said how Jesus couldn't do many miracles in his hometown because the people lacked faith. I know how that feels. Being a coach and becoming an author, I've authored, self-published my first book, which is where I get the daily inspirational quotes. Help anchored, Be Blessed Daily Volume 1. And you can see that when you go to theheartconnections.com to order the new book. But as my life started to change and I learned effective ways to deal with the weeds in my life while also embracing the fruit, because I didn't realize that I can enjoy my life despite what was going on. Even though I'm growing and I'm learning, like I can still love this process. And that's what I want to encourage you to do. I want to encourage love this process, even when you're being misunderstood, even when you're not being supported, even if you're the only one that can go. Sometimes it's not that people don't want to be there with you. Sometimes God does not want people to be there with you. And I can say for me, I wanted other people to understand me because the truth of the matter is, I didn't understand myself. I was looking for other people to answer questions about me and show me things about myself that I didn't know. And when they didn't do it, when they didn't show up the way I wanted them to, or support me the way I wanted them to, I would get frustrated or irritated. Why are they not supporting me? Why are they not there for me the way I need them to be? Like, looking back at our last segment of Heart Talk, when Jesus, they're like, isn't that the carpenter's son? Isn't that Simon and Judas and James's brother? Like, who is this guy? He's so wise and he's doing these miracles. And when people used to do that to me, I used to dim my light. I would, and I still work to get over this. I'm a lot better than I used to. But when people would react to me the way they did to Jesus, instead of me going someplace else with my goodness, I would try to dim my light or do everything I could to get them to understand me, to make them understand me. And I realized that That's when I realized that you will never, anytime you're trying to please everyone else, you're going to find yourself unhappy in the process, and people still are going to be unhappy. Be okay with being misunderstood. Embrace all of who you are. If your family does not want to accept you, accept your gifts, accept your callings, sometimes people don't accept your foolishness, and you can't expect them to. People can love you, but they don't have to love the weeds that come along with you. Keep that in mind. But there are some of us who don't get that support. People say they love and care about you, but when the rubber meets the road, they're not there for you. They don't show up. They don't support you. They don't encourage you. They don't do any of those things, but they're always critical. They're always there to remind you of when you messed up or when you did something. And if they do support you, it's almost like they support you just so that they can have room to criticize you. You don't have to be subjected to that. I started off the day talking about the weeds and how they grow with the fruit, because you have to understand that there's going to always be a time and a point in your life that you're going to have things that you're misunderstood. People are not going to respond to you the way that you want. As a coach, as my platform is building, as I getting to know people, I'm on the radio with you. Listen, I'm connecting with people all over the world. I started this 4 years ago in my room on a Monday night at 9:15 doing Heart Talk on a conference call with 8 ladies. And all of them just called in because they wanted to be supportive. Nobody understood why I was doing what I did. I didn't understand. All I knew is that was what God wanted from me. And I got a lot of, well, who do you think you are? And how could you do Heart Talk or Bible study and you do this? Or look at your attitude towards that. How can you do it? I didn't really have the answer. I couldn't explain myself to them so that I could be better understood. I had to keep moving forward. It was something inside of me that was pushing me and driving me more than my excuses to stop were holding me back. And I want to encourage you to keep going. Allow that thing to push you. Don't make excuses for your foolishness, but allow God to work through you. Jesus wants to bless you. He understands that you've been misunderstood. He understands that you have a lot of weeds in your life. But if you go back a little bit in Matthew and go to Matthew chapter 11, he says, "Come to me, all of you who are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you." When an animal is yoked, it's a bear, it's a device that is holding it to the plow. When you yoke an ox, you're holding it to the work that it needs to do. What Jesus is saying is, you're going to have a work to do regardless. But if you do the work that I'm asking you to do, it's not going to be as heavy. It's not going to be as burdensome. Yes, you're going to have weeds, but you're going to thrive in the midst of the weeds. Yes, you're going to be misunderstood, but I'm going to bless you to gain a greater understanding of me and yourself in the process. And that's the beauty of it. That's why you need to have Jesus in your life and get to know him, because he will help you through these things. And I'm telling you, I'm not just telling you something I read, I'm telling you some things that I have experienced for myself. I don't want you to go through this life feeling like it's no point, it's no purpose, and continue to make decisions that add more weeds to your harvest. When after you put in all of this work, you don't need to be throwing away more than you're able to keep. Yes, you might have been abused. Yes, you might have been abandoned. Yes, you may have been molested. Yes, you may have been misunderstood. Yes, they discriminated against you. Yes, they turned their back on you. Yes, they talked about you. Yes, they did not like you. Yes, they did not support you. But guess what? You were created for this. You were created to thrive. And sometimes those things have to happen so that you can get to the place you need to be in. You're not going to understand this whole process. That's why you have to be okay with being misunderstood by other people, because you're not going to even understand why you're doing the things you're doing. I didn't understand why I had to quit my job and pursue publishing and marketing this book. I didn't understand what but God told me that's what I was. But now I get to come here every day and help people. The stories I get of how people were going to kill themselves or just give up, walk out on life and turn their back on things, and they just heard something I said. Or it's not about me. And I can't understand it. I can't understand how I can uplift and encourage other people sometime when I'm so down and so broken. I stopped trying to figure out how to understand it. It's happening, and I'm thankful that it's happening because I am growing in the midst of the weeds. Forget the weeds, because when it's harvest time, I'll throw that stuff away. But I am going to work so that I know that when it's time for me to get my harvest, I'm going to be able to keep more and benefit from more than I have to get rid of. I love wings, guys. I love the bone and wings, like the flats and the drums. I don't like boneless wings. They are all right, but I would prefer the real wings, but I don't eat bones. I don't eat bones. I know some people do, but I don't. I throw them away, but I enjoy the meat. And that's what we have to do. If you can't get anything from these Heart Talk segments, that pretty much will sum it all up. You're going to have to take the meat and throw away the bones in life. You don't have to understand it. You don't have to make sense of it. If you're weighing it, yes, you're going to have to pay for the bones when you're weighing it and end up throwing them away. But it's all a part of the process, guys. You're worth it. You are absolutely worth it. And it's time for you to stop allowing the things in your life, those negativities, those your mom and dad didn't support you. That's another reason why you need to accept Jesus, because when you accept Jesus, you're accepting a father. And when you accept the father, let me tell you what the father does. The father invites you into his family. And he has a good, good family because he's a good, good father. He really is. I want to encourage you right now. See, when I used to hear things like that, that didn't get me excited because I had such a negative relationship with my dad. But because of the work that God has done in my life, for me to start embracing the weeds, it was a process that didn't come easy, but it's worth it because now I can benefit from things that used to tear me down. Now can build me up. Same situation, but my perspective has changed. My mindset has shifted. So it's making me a better person so that I can be here with you every day. And I want this for you. So you think about what we've talked about. Eat that meat, but throw away those bones. Don't choke on them. You don't need them. God has great things in store for you. Believe that. This has been Heart Talk with your heart coach, Adelai Brown, right here on kinetichifi.com, brought to you by Help Save Me from My Broken Heart, your journey to living and loving again. And since he's such a good father, he understands us when we don't understand ourselves. Let's listen to Chris Tomlin tell us about how good our Father is. Just listen to the words, guys. Love this song. And I love y'all right here on Heart Connections and kinetichifi.com. All right, guys, I'll see y'all tomorrow. Make sure you like and subscribe and share below. And tell everybody you know about Heart Talk. If this blessed you, I'm sure it could bless somebody else. Love y'all.